Elevators. Proof that humans shouldn't be trusted with buttons, gravity, or each other in small boxes. 1. Japan's apology button law. In Japan, some elevators have a literal apology button. It's officially labeled Gomen Nasai, which translates to "I'm sorry." It doesn't call security, doesn't stop the lift, and definitely doesn't fix your social awkwardness. It just plays a polite, pre-recorded apology chime for everyone stuck with you. It's there for when you accidentally bump someone's shoulder, press the wrong floor, or breathe too loudly in a silent capsule of shared shame. The idea is to reduce tension, but all it really does is give anxious people one more button to panic press. Imagine that level of cultural refinement applied to an American elevator. Someone sneezes, and the whole system goes into sorry mode like it's hosting a corporate HR seminar. 2. The Texas Cow Elevator. Fiasco. Everything's bigger in Texas, including the bad ideas. In 2011, a rural county fair tried to modernize by moving livestock to the second floor of their new exhibition hall via freight elevator. The plan worked once. The first cow rode up fine. The second cow panicked halfway and hit the emergency stop button with its horn. The result: 3 terrified animals, 2 angry ranchers, and 1 elevator permanently scented like barn. The building's insurance company was so traumatized it rewrote its policies to include a line forbidding bovine vertical transport. Somewhere in Texas, there's still an elevator with a dent shaped exactly like a cow's opinion on modern technology. 3. New York's Trapped for Art incident. In 2005, a performance artist in Manhattan decided to explore isolation by living inside an elevator for 48 hours. He brought snacks, a sleeping bag, and a camera crew. Unfortunately, his elevator art project lasted longer than planned because the system actually broke down, trapping him for 3 days. By the time the fire department rescued him, he'd experienced every possible stage of self-reflection, from enlightenment to arguing with the emergency phone. His project was later praised as a haunting metaphor for modern alienation, but the elevator repair company simply listed it as user error and profound stupidity. The final insult? He still got a parking ticket because his car was waiting outside the whole time. 4. London's 2-minute rule, madness. In London, elevator inspectors follow a real regulation called the 2-minute rule. If a lift door stays open for more than 120 seconds without moving, the entire system automatically shuts down for safety. Sounds reasonable until you realize it's triggered by people holding the door for slow coworkers, lost tourists, or someone trying to finish their sandwich mid-ride. The moment that timer hits 121 seconds, alarms blare, lights flash, and a recorded voice politely announces that everyone's day just got significantly worse. Office workers call it the polite British apocalypse. Engineers once calculated that this rule has caused an estimated 40,000 unnecessary maintenance calls since the 80s. It's bureaucracy in mechanical form, an elevator that tattles on you for being too considerate. Somewhere deep in the Transport for London archives, there's probably a document saying, if civility exceeds 120 seconds, immediate shutdown required. 5. The closed door. Button that lies to you. Here's the ultimate betrayal. In most modern elevators, the closed door button does absolutely nothing. It's a placebo for impatient people. After 1990, the Americans with Disabilities Act required doors to stay open long enough for everyone, including wheelchair users, to enter safely. Manufacturers could have removed the button entirely, but they didn't. Instead, they left it in as a psychological pacifier. You think you're in control, mashing that button like a caffeine-addicted lab rat, but the elevator ignores you completely. It's a social experiment hiding in plain sight, a silent lesson in patience disguised as technology. And yet, we keep pressing it every single time. Because deep down, we'd rather believe in a comforting lie than accept that we have zero influence over 2 sliding metal panels. 6. The Singapore No Durian Rule. Singaporean elevators are famously spotless, but they also come with a unique restriction: no durians allowed. For the uninitiated, durian is a tropical fruit that smells like onions, gasoline, and regret. Its stench is so powerful that bringing one into an elevator can trigger the fire alarm. After multiple incidents in high-rises, the city passed local bans with heavy fines for durian transport in enclosed public spaces, including lifts. One hotel even installed motion-activated scent sensors that detect the fruit's aroma faster than drug dogs at customs. Offenders are fined up to 500 Singapore dollars and politely escorted out, without their fruit. Somewhere, a bureaucrat had to type olfactory offense, tropical fruit, into an official policy. It's the only time in history a fruit achieved the same legal treatment as explosives. 7. The haunted elevator of Kentucky. In a Lexington courthouse, employees swear the elevator is haunted. The building was renovated in the 1970s, but one elevator, installed in 1904, refuses to obey modern logic. It stops at random floors, opens to empty hallways, and occasionally plays phantom music from nowhere. Engineers have checked it dozens of times, finding no electrical issue. Local legend says it's haunted by a night janitor who died on duty after getting trapped inside during a power outage in 1911. The city refuses to replace it because, technically, it still passes inspection, so now it's half transportation, half seance. Staff members refuse to ride it alone, and one judge even performs morning pep talks to the spirit before court. It's America's most obedient ghost, still clocking in for work 114 years later. 8. The elevator music that drove people insane. Elevator music wasn't invented to relax people. It was designed to control them. In the 1940s, a company called Muzak created Stimulus Progression, a playlist that slowly increased tempo and brightness every 15 minutes to boost worker productivity in office towers. The idea was that no one would notice the gradual shift, but subconsciously feel more energetic. It worked until workers realized they were being manipulated by flutes and violins. By the 1970s, Muzak fatigue became a real HR problem. People started staging protests by riding elevators with boomboxes blasting heavy metal. One building in Chicago even replaced its music with recordings of ocean waves, only to cause nausea on higher floors. Today, elevator music survives mostly as parody, but make no mistake, it began as psychological warfare disguised as jazz. 9. The Paris weight limit protest. In 2013, Parisians turned an elevator malfunction into a political statement. A luxury apartment's lift displayed a digital sign that flashed overweight whenever more than 3 people entered. Residents, most of them fit, fashion-conscious Parisians, were mortified. The sign didn't say overcapacity or too many passengers, just overweight. Within days, tenants filed an official complaint accusing the elevator company of body-shaming the community. The manufacturer tried to explain it was a translation error, but the damage was done. Someone even spray-painted "Lift of Judgment" on the lobby wall. Eventually, management reprogrammed the screen to say, "Please reduce load," which somehow sounded even worse. The company quietly retired the model a year later, proving that even elevators can get cancelled in France for crimes against self-esteem. 10. The Las Vegas sky-high marriage. Rule only in Las Vegas could romance and gravity form a legal partnership. In 1999, a chapel built inside a glass elevator offered sky-high weddings, where couples said their vows during a 22-story ascent. Everything was perfect, until someone realized the elevator wasn't technically zoned for religious or ceremonial gatherings. Translation: it was illegal to get married while moving vertically. The city's response was pure Vegas. Don't ban it, regulate it. They created a special clause allowing mobile matrimonial events as long as a licensed officiant was strapped in with a seatbelt. The rule still exists, meaning that somewhere there's a line in the Las Vegas Municipal Code that legalizes airborne matrimony in a lift. Only Vegas could look at the laws of physics and say, "Sure, just add paperwork." It's both bureaucratic genius and the closest thing to marrying someone inside a cocktail shaker. 11. China's talking elevator epidemic. In 2015, Chinese residents began reporting elevators that wouldn't stop talking. Companies had discovered a new advertising niche: lift announcements. Each time a floor passed, a cheerful AI voice played audio ads for toothpaste, real estate, or dating apps. Some were even motion-activated, greeting passengers with phrases like, "You look great today? Buy milk." The noise was so constant that apartment associations started calling it verbal pollution. Complaints poured in after one elevator malfunctioned and repeated, "Welcome to Happiness Plaza," every 5 seconds for 8 straight hours. Eventually, the government stepped in, banning voice ads above 30 decibels. But the damage was done. The world learned that the only thing worse than being trapped in an elevator is being trapped in one that won't stop trying to sell you detergent. 12. The NASA Elevator Panic Test. Back in the 1960s, NASA psychologists used an elevator to test astronaut candidates' composure under pressure. The setup was simple. Candidates were sealed inside a fake elevator that occasionally stalled between floors. Secret cameras recorded their reactions. Most stayed calm. One legendary test subject, future Apollo astronaut Alan Shepard, used the emergency phone to calmly order a sandwich from the cafeteria. Another quietly took a nap. But one candidate panicked so hard he tried to pry the doors open with a pen and accidentally jammed the mechanism, causing a real emergency. The test proved something crucial. You can simulate zero gravity, but nothing reveals human psychology faster than a closed box with bad lighting and the illusion of doom. The program was later retired when engineers realized they were spending thousands of dollars just to confirm that, yes, astronauts handle elevators better than the rest of us. 13. The elevator inspector's curse of Chicago. Chicago has more elevators than any city on Earth, and one very weird superstition among its inspectors. Local maintenance crews believe that if you fail to compliment an elevator's ride smoothness on your first inspection, you'll experience a breakdown within 48 hours. It began in the 1930s when a rookie technician mocked a new Otis model as too quiet to be trustworthy. 2 days later, the system malfunctioned, trapping the city comptroller and causing a PR nightmare. Ever since, engineers have made it a tradition to tap the control panel twice and say, "Good ride," after their first run. Officially, it's not in the manual, but everyone does it anyway. It's part superstition management. And honestly, given Chicago's history of mechanical drama, it's probably safer to keep the spirits of elevator engineering well fed with compliments. 14. The submarine elevator of Moscow. During the Cold War, the Moscow Metro built secret elevators connecting subway tunnels to government bunkers. They were disguised as normal maintenance lifts, but they didn't go to floors. They went to classified levels. One rumor claimed an engineer accidentally rode one too far and ended up face-to-face with a submarine crew in full uniform. The truth was slightly less dramatic, but still bizarre. The elevator connected to an underground testing pool for submersion gear. The government eventually confirmed its existence in the 1990s, after someone leaked photos of wet elevators lined with rust and condensation. Even today, those tunnels remain off-limits, guarded by signs reading "Elevator access prohibited without naval clearance." It's the only elevator in history that required both a key card and the ability to swim. 15. The Disneyland Panic Button. Disney doesn't mess around with customer safety, or their image. In the 1980s, engineers designed a secret feature for elevators in Disneyland hotels, a hidden panic button that instantly plays upbeat Disney music during malfunctions. The idea was simple. If the lift stalled, Mickey's cheerful voice would keep guests calm until help arrived. It worked perfectly. Maybe too perfectly. One incident involved a family getting stuck while "It's a Small World" looped for 47 minutes. By the time rescuers opened the doors, everyone inside was singing in perfect unison, but visibly traumatized. Disney quietly replaced the track with soothing orchestral tunes and never acknowledged the experiment again. Still, imagine being trapped between floors with Mickey Mouse chirping "Everything's magic" while your phone dies. That's not entertainment. It's psychological endurance training with theme music. 16. The Tokyo Speed Demon Elevator. Tokyo is famous for having some of the fastest elevators in the world, reaching speeds of up to 1,200 feet per minute. But speed comes with consequences. In 2012, a group of office workers experienced minor ear barotrauma, sudden pressure changes causing temporary ringing and dizziness during a morning commute. The elevator operators claimed it was completely within safety limits, while victims claimed it was like riding a rocket with walls. Engineers later admitted that humans aren't used to that level of vertical acceleration in a confined space, and even brief stops can cause the sensation of weightlessness followed by sudden pressure spikes. The building added warning signs: "Fast elevator, hold on to your briefcase and dignity." It's a reminder that just because technology can move humans at jet speed doesn't mean it should, and that in Tokyo, efficiency sometimes comes with vertigo. 17. The Florida Alligator Emergency Stop. In Florida, elevator safety gets unusual. One high-rise faced repeated false alarms when the emergency stop buttons were pressed, halting lifts mid-floor. The culprit? Local wildlife. A small alligator somehow entered the service shaft of a ground-floor elevator, causing panic among maintenance staff. The creature had chewed on wiring and triggered alarms for months before being discovered. The city instituted a new rule: elevators near water bodies must have wildlife-proof doors. Engineers jokingly called it Gator-Resistant Design 2.0. Tenants were reassured that while an alligator could enter the lobby, it could not ride the elevator, but the psychological effect lingered. Floridians now have a rule that reads like a script from a B-rated horror movie. Never assume your emergency button is safe from wildlife interference. 18. The San Francisco Art Elevator debacle. In 2009, an art collective installed an interactive light display in a luxury San Francisco elevator. The installation caused the lift to stop intermittently as sensors misread patrons' movements, creating a freeze-frame effect that trapped riders for up to 15 minutes. While intended to be immersive and thought-provoking, passengers were confused, some panicked, and a few even filed complaints citing emotional distress caused by modern art. The city eventually intervened, forcing the elevator company to separate art from mechanics. The incident became legendary among locals, who now warn tourists, if the elevator starts glowing too brightly, it's probably time to reconsider your life choices before pressing any buttons. 19. The Montreal Elevator Yoga Incident. A boutique hotel in Montreal decided to embrace wellness trends by hosting elevator yoga classes in its 12-person lifts. Patrons were encouraged to hold poses while ascending multiple floors. It seemed harmless until one participant lost balance, pressing the emergency stop button mid-pose, trapping everyone for nearly an hour. Firefighters arrived to evacuate the participants, who were covered in mats, sweat, and existential dread. The city banned yoga in elevators, citing safety hazards, and the hotel quietly removed all references to wellness from its marketing. This remains one of the few instances where mindfulness literally met mechanical limitation, proving that some trends are better practiced on solid ground. 20. The elevator that calls you out in Seoul. In Seoul, certain office elevators feature screens displaying congratulatory messages if you press the right combination of floor buttons. A cheeky twist appeared in 2016 when one building's AI began sarcastically commenting on occupants' habits. If someone repeatedly rode to the same floor, it displayed, "Going to 10 again? Work harder, champ." If the elevator detected someone rushing, it quipped, "Late again? Might want to sleep more." Workers were torn between delight and horror, as the lift became a passive-aggressive coworker in vertical form. Management eventually disabled the feature, but employees fondly remember the lift that judged them with machine-like precision, a tiny, vertical black mirror. 21. New York's Elevator Chess Challenge. A Manhattan office attempted a quirky engagement program. Two-person chessboards installed in elevators. Workers were encouraged to make one move per floor. Fun turned chaotic when impatient employees began slamming buttons mid-game, skipping floors, and arguing loudly, accidentally triggering the emergency alarm twice. The concept was discontinued, but not before creating viral footage of corporate adults debating Sicilian defenses in a claustrophobic metal box. It's a classic New York story: productivity, competition, and cramped metal quarters combined into vertical chaos. 22. The Dubai Gold-Plated Panic Button. Dubai loves luxury, and in 2014, a developer installed gold-plated panic buttons in high-rise lifts of a luxury hotel. The problem? Guests instinctively pressed the buttons at the slightest inconvenience: too warm, too crowded, or a sudden desire to feel heroic. Within 2 weeks, maintenance teams were overwhelmed, elevator rides were interrupted constantly, and engineers nicknamed the system Midas's Misery. Eventually, they replaced the buttons with standard models, citing a subtle principle of physics and human behavior. Gold is heavy, shiny, and apparently irresistible, but it doesn't make you safer. Guests continued to call for help, but now at least their panic was slightly less glamorous. 23. The Tokyo Button Marathon. In 2017, Tokyo commuters discovered that certain high-speed elevators had a peculiar quirk. If you pressed multiple floor buttons in quick succession, the lift would stop at every requested floor in reverse order. Panic ensued during the morning rush, as overzealous button pressers tried to outsmart the system, only to be ferried up and down like chess pieces on a metal board. Engineers explained it was a software bug designed to prioritize efficiency, but interpreted literally by vertical chaos theory. The lesson? Never challenge an elevator's logic. It will always win. Commuters are now trained in button etiquette before entering. lest they face accidental detours to floor 18 when they meant floor 2. 24. The Sydney elevator karaoke disaster. A trendy Sydney bar decided to install karaoke booths inside service elevators for a 2015 promotion. Patrons were encouraged to sing during their ride between the rooftop bar and the basement lounge. Chaos erupted when participants over-enthusiastically pressed the emergency stop while holding microphones and cocktails, causing a 20-minute elevator halt. Firefighters arrived to rescue slightly inebriated singers, and management quietly retired the project. The stunt remains infamous as a cautionary tale. Confined spaces, alcohol, and showmanship do not mix. Vertical entertainment may work in theory, but gravity always wins. 25. The Berlin elevator with personality. A Berlin tech startup experimented with AI-enhanced elevators in 2016. The lift would greet passengers by name and offer small talk based on their schedules. Sounds adorable, until the AI started making sarcastic comments about employees arriving late or overpacking their briefcases. One morning, it told a CEO, "You again? Ever heard of telecommuting?" Complaints piled up, and psychologists were consulted about the effect on worker morale. Eventually, the AI was reprogrammed to limit interaction to neutral greetings. Berliners still joke about the lift that roasts you, as a reminder that technology is only charming until it starts judging you. 26. The Hong Kong elevator traffic jam. In 2018, a skyscraper in Hong Kong experienced a vertical traffic jam during peak hours. Engineers discovered that occupants were hoarding elevators by repeatedly pressing buttons for floors they didn't intend to reach, just to reserve space for friends or avoid walking stairs. The elevators became clogged, leaving some riders waiting up to 12 minutes for a ride that should have lasted 30 seconds. Management installed occupancy sensors and a strict queuing system, creating the first known elevator traffic police in the city. Residents now joke that taking the elevator is like entering a theme park ride with invisible lines and relentless security. 27. The Los Angeles elevator selfie panic. In 2016, a luxury apartment in LA experienced a spike in elevator stoppages due to guests trying to take selfies. They leaned against doors, pressed buttons repeatedly, and blocked sensors to frame perfect Instagram shots. One elevator became inoperable for 22 minutes when a group of teenagers triggered the emergency system while coordinating lighting angles. Maintenance staff installed mirrors and better lighting in cabins to curb the issue. Social media influencers, however, found workarounds, resulting in a minor PR scandal. Engineers now recommend that elevator photography be treated as a minor safety hazard in high-density buildings. 28. The Stockholm elevator chess revival. In Stockholm, a co-working space installed electronic chessboards in elevators as a productivity experiment in 2019. Each floor allowed only one move, with players competing during the ride. Predictably, impatience and floor hopping caused disputes, with arguments escalating over turn violations. Engineers had to recalibrate sensors and integrate penalty systems for illegal moves. The experiment was abandoned after 2 weeks, leaving behind a legacy of digital scoreboards and disgruntled chess enthusiasts who swore never to mix strategy games with vertical transport again. 29. The Mumbai elevator animal alarm. In 2020, Mumbai maintenance crews discovered a new hazard: stray monkeys entering residential building elevators. One particularly clever primate managed to press the emergency stop button repeatedly, causing lift shutdowns for hours. Residents filmed the antics, which went viral online. The city added reinforced doors and motion detectors, officially labeling it a primate safety concern. Engineers stressed that elevators are designed for humans, not wildlife, but the monkeys clearly disagreed. Mumbai now maintains a small team to monitor urban wildlife elevator interference, proving that even the best technology can be outsmarted by nature. 30. The Singapore elevator meditation mishap. A meditation center in Singapore decided to hold elevator mindfulness sessions in 2021, where participants were guided to focus on breathing while ascending floors. Calm quickly turned to chaos when one participant pressed the emergency stop, citing too much awareness. The lift halted mid-ride, requiring emergency services to assist 12 people in various poses of Zen-inspired confusion. The practice was banned, but participants later shared footage online, calling it the ultimate test of mental discipline. The incident demonstrates that even mindfulness has limits when confined to a 1.5s2-meter metal box with zero escape routes. 31. The Paris fashion emergency stop. In a luxury Parisian high-rise, elevators are treated like extensions of the runway. In 2018, a prominent fashion blogger pressed the emergency stop button mid-floor because their heels were getting caught on the plush carpet. The sudden halt trapped a dozen people, including an international photographer and a delivery person with 3 crates of cheese. Security arrived within minutes, but the incident caused a minor media frenzy. Building management quickly issued a statement: elevators are not catwalks. Heels may cause mechanical disruptions and public humiliation. Despite the reprimand, the event became a viral example of Parisian elegance colliding with elevator engineering. Designers later joked about creating lift-friendly shoes, acknowledging that some fashion statements are literally too high maintenance for vertical travel. 32. The Hong Kong Emergency Button Lottery. A high-rise in Hong Kong discovered a disturbing pattern. Residents pressed the emergency button not for emergencies, but as a lottery system to reserve top-floor lifts. Since the system queued stops based on first activation, residents thought pressing it would guarantee faster access later. Within weeks, engineers reported elevator systems nearly crashing from constant false activations. Fire departments were called unnecessarily multiple times, and management finally posted warnings. Emergency buttons are not VIP passes. This incident illustrates human ingenuity at its finest. When faced with vertical transport limitations, residents will exploit buttons meant for life-threatening situations for personal gain. 33. The Dubai Gold-Plated Elevator Buttons Part 2. Luxury meets chaos in Dubai once more. After the 2014 gold-plated panic button fiasco, a new tower installed diamond-encrusted buttons for VIP suites in 2019. Guests could not resist pressing them, assuming they triggered exclusive perks or private messages to concierge staff. Within days, the elevator halted multiple times, service teams were overwhelmed, and engineers called it a glittering disaster. The tower had to replace the buttons with regular stainless steel models while keeping the diamonds as decoration outside the cabin. It's a perfect reminder that opulence does not improve functionality, and humans will abuse luxury at every opportunity. 34. The New York Elevator Chess d'Issue, the Office Edition. An updated experiment in a Manhattan startup in 2020 involved touchscreens allowing employees to play chess while riding the elevator between floors. The idea: multitasking productivity. Predictably, it led to chaos. Players ignored floor etiquette, pressing multiple buttons to gain advantage, and arguments over illegal moves triggered the emergency stop system twice in 1 week. HR issued a memo banning competitive gaming in confined vertical spaces. Employees fondly referred to it as the week the elevator became a battlefield, proving that no technological overlay can prevent human impatience from sabotaging both chess and vertical transport. 35. The London Elevator Ghost Alarm. A historic London office tower installed new safety sensors in 2021, but anomalies occurred. Lights flickered, alarms triggered randomly, and doors opened mid-ride with no passengers inside. Engineers eventually concluded that the issue was caused by residual electromagnetic interference from the original 1920s wiring. Employees, however, swore the elevator was haunted. Management humorously left a "haunted lift" sign near the lobby. Though technical in origin, the experience created an enduring office legend. Employees now ride with superstition, leaving small offerings of candy to avoid mechanical haunting. It's a unique example of technology creating folklore in real time. 36. The Tokyo Elevator Speed Record Attempt. In 2022, a Japanese high-rise elevator manufacturer decided to test its fastest model publicly. They organized a speed record ride with engineers, journalists, and a safety officer. The lift reached unprecedented speeds, but several participants experienced minor dizziness and ear pressure problems. One journalist fainted, creating a small emergency evacuation mid-test. Engineers revised the acceleration curves and installed warning signs about pressure changes. The event received worldwide media coverage, highlighting both Japanese engineering prowess and the human body's vulnerability to rapid vertical motion. It remains a cautionary tale. Elevators may break speed records, but passengers' equilibrium is non-negotiable. 37. The Singapore Elevator Meditation 2. After the 2021 elevator mindfulness mishap, a meditation studio in Singapore attempted a safer variant in 2023. Solo-guided sessions with sensors monitoring weight distribution. Participants ascended alone, listening to calming audio. Unfortunately, one attendee pressed the emergency stop mid-session after overthinking the instructions, triggering a lift halt and a minor panic. Staff quickly rescued the participant and reinforced guidelines, banning emergency button presses except for actual danger. The session became an ironic social media hit. Meditate responsibly, or the elevator will meditate on you. The story demonstrates that even well-intentioned wellness programs collide spectacularly with human unpredictability in confined vertical spaces. 38. The Los Angeles Elevator Flash Mob. In 2023, a downtown LA office building became the site of a surprise elevator flash mob. Employees coordinated via chat apps to dance inside the building's glass lifts during the morning rush. What seemed harmless quickly turned chaotic. Lifts stopped mid-floor due to weight sensor triggers, and emergency buttons were pressed accidentally as participants twirled and jumped. Security had to evacuate participants, while management issued a memo reminding staff that elevators are not dance floors. Videos went viral, with commentators joking about the elevator as a vertical dance hall. Engineers noted that the event revealed a critical design flaw. Lifts can be overly sensitive to dynamic loads, and human enthusiasm is hard to predict. The story became a cultural touchpoint for LA's office culture, blending ambition, creativity, and pure vertical chaos into one unforgettable moment. 39. The Chicago Elevator Fire Drill Fiasco. In 2022, a skyscraper in Chicago conducted an emergency fire drill that included its elevators, a questionable decision in itself. The plan: simulate elevator malfunction during evacuation. Real panic ensued when multiple buttons were pressed simultaneously and emergency brakes engaged at random floors. Tenants trapped for several minutes feared a real fire. Firefighters arrived on scene, discovering the chaos was entirely planned. While the drill passed safety requirements, management received dozens of complaints about emotional distress and sudden vertigo. The incident became a case study in disaster planning. Even controlled tests can trigger uncontrolled panic when humans are confined in metal boxes. 40. The Tokyo AI Elevator Security Guard. In 2021, a Tokyo office building introduced AI-powered elevators to enhance security. The system could identify employees and prevent unauthorized access to certain floors. Unfortunately, the AI overzealously flagged employees wearing hats or carrying bulky bags, denying access, and occasionally triggering emergency stops. Frustrated workers spent hours pleading with the elevator, waving ID cards and explaining outfits. Engineers had to recalibrate facial recognition algorithms to reduce false positives. The incident highlights the tension between automation and human unpredictability, proving that even the most sophisticated systems struggle when humans don't behave according to code. 41. The Dubai Panic Button Confusion. Redux. Following previous luxury button issues, a 2022 Dubai high-rise faced another problem. Panic buttons were installed near spa elevators, confusing guests who mistook them for spa service requests. Multiple unnecessary stoppages occurred, leaving guests stranded between floors with robes and towels. Maintenance teams responded repeatedly, adding signage and audio guidance. Despite these fixes, some guests continued pressing the buttons out of curiosity or misunderstanding, creating a perfect storm of vertical frustration. Engineers learned that even with signage and technology, human curiosity is a major variable in elevator operation. 42. The New York Elevator Press and Release Experiment. A New York tech company conducted a social experiment in 2021, measuring how often employees press and release buttons excessively. Sensors tracked button mashing behavior, revealing that over 70% of riders repeatedly pressed floor buttons just to hurry things up. The unintended consequence? Multiple elevators stopped mid-floor due to over-triggering of safety protocols. Management called it a lesson in patience and installed digital screens reminding riders that pressing buttons does not speed up vertical travel. Employees still joke about being button athletes, acknowledging that impatience is a universal human trait even in highly automated environments. 43. The London Elevator Voice Assistant Gone Rogue. In 2022, a London building installed voice-activated elevators with the goal of improving accessibility. Initially successful, the system went haywire when multiple occupants spoke simultaneously. Commands were misinterpreted, sending passengers to the wrong floors or triggering emergency stops. One resident complained that the lift developed its own mind, leaving people stranded and anxious. Engineers had to disable voice recognition during peak hours and retrain AI to handle multiple simultaneous voices. This incident underscores a recurring theme. Automation promises convenience, But human unpredictability often overwhelms even the most sophisticated systems, leaving passengers questioning whether their elevator is a tool or a prankster in metal clothing. 44. The Miami Beach Elevator Incident. In 2022, a luxury condo in Miami installed elevators connecting the lobby to rooftop pools. During a spring break weekend, students carrying inflatable pool floats pressed the emergency stop repeatedly to fit oversized rafts inside. The lifts became stuck mid-floor with multiple occupants, including frightened guests and cocktail waiters. Fire department personnel had to intervene. Management issued a stern memo warning that elevators are for human transportation, not flotation devices. Despite this, videos of the incident circulated online, showcasing the absurdity of combining leisure, heavy inflatables, and confined metal boxes. 45. The Beijing Elevator Karaoke Buntu. A Beijing office introduced karaoke-equipped elevators in 2022 for stress relief. Employees sang while ascending floors, but the combined vibrations and sound volume triggered the emergency stop repeatedly. Security staff had to evacuate participants during peak hours. Engineers later concluded that lifts are sensitive to weight distribution and vibrations, and musical enthusiasm can cause mechanical misbehavior. The program was discontinued, leaving only amusing stories about the singing elevator that failed to harmonize with engineering realities. 46. The Toronto Elevator Dog Rescue. In 2021, a Toronto apartment elevator became the stage for a heroic yet chaotic rescue. A dog panicked inside a lift and jumped, pressing the emergency stop and trapping residents for nearly 20 minutes. Firefighters arrived to free the dog and calm passengers. Management implemented new pet safety regulations, including mandatory leashes in lifts. Residents now joke about the canine-induced elevator malfunction, proving that even pets can manipulate vertical systems in ways humans rarely anticipate. 47. The Las Vegas Casino Elevator Roulette. In 2023, a Las Vegas casino experimented with an interactive roulette system in elevators. Players pressed buttons predicting which floor the lift would stop at. Unexpected button combinations triggered emergency protocols multiple times, halting vertical traffic during peak hours. Security had to reset systems repeatedly. Engineers later noted that adding games to elevators increases human error exponentially. The casino replaced the roulette system with digital entertainment screens to reduce stoppages, but players fondly remember the short-lived thrill of elevator gambling. 48. The Dubai Ultimate Vertical Luxury. In a 2024 Dubai skyscraper, engineers installed lifts with gold, diamond, and marble interiors, complete with ambient lighting and automated cocktail delivery. Guests repeatedly pressed emergency buttons to test VIP privileges, causing multiple stoppages. Staff had to reassure patrons that luxury doesn't grant vertical invincibility. After repeated disruptions, the building replaced emergency buttons with standard models, while maintaining lavish decor. This event cemented the reputation of elevators as spaces where human curiosity and luxury collide catastrophically. Which of these vertical disasters wins the award for absurdity? Comment your favorite elevator catastrophe below.